Ho ho buddies, one's Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and today we're playing Chaos Head. Last time a bunch of stuff happened. One, Ban was shot by Sewer. Two, Sewer's going around shooting people now. And also three, Ewa confronted her sister, quote unquote, on the roof of the hospital. And I think Fez took out the sister. And before we found out what exactly is happening with that, it cut to Nanami and Takumi back at Takumi's shipping container house, and he's saying, "Won't you kill me?" So let's carry on. Won't you kill me? Nanami's face stiffened, but shortly after that, she put on a clearly forced smile. Haha, I swear, you always tell the worst jokes, big bro. That reaction wasn't like her. Normally, she wouldn't just laugh it off. Normally, she'd angrily yell, "Don't say that, you dumb jerk!" Then spend the next few minutes reprimanding me. Well, not that it mattered. I didn't care. If she wouldn't kill me, I had no more business with this Nanami. She could just up and vanish for all I cared. Ugh. I locked eyes with Saratan. If only Saratan was in the third dimension, she would have gladly granted my wish. If I was going to be born a delusionary existence anyway, at least have me be born in the second dimension. Hey, jokes aside, I have something I need to tell you. So, that bangle you gave me, I lost it. I know what you want to say. Why weren't you more careful? But that's the thing, I really, really treasured it. But I still have no clue where I lost it. What? You treasured it? Seriously? Incredible. Genuinely fucking incredible. Comedy gold, really. Besides, I gave you it, didn't I? So it's worthless anyway. I'm not a delusion. I'm not a delusion. Besides, the fact that I'd given Nanami the bangle in and of itself was suspicious. It could have been a delusion too, for all I knew. That was why nothing in this world was worth anything. Each and everything in my memories was worthless. I'm not a delusion. I'm not a delusion. Wait, you really lost it. It was the first present you ever gave me. Why did I have to lose it? I'm not a delusion. I'm not a delusion. Big bro, are you listening to me? I'm not a delusion. I'm not a delusion. Why are you always like this? Her head hung low, and her fists clenched tight. Nanami let out a faint whisper. Why can't you just show your reliable side every once in a while? Like a good big brother would. What now? If you're here to criticize me, you're wasting your time. After all, I'm a delusionary existence. I'm not a delusion. I'm not a delusion. All I did was stare blankly at Saratan's smile. There was no reason to listen to Nanami, it was all pointless. After all, I was a delusionary existence. Every day up until now, I've always tried my absolute hardest, all while telling myself I have to hang in there, but I just can't help it. After going through so much, even I wanted someone to take care of me sometimes. To spoil me. No, not just someone. I want it to be you, big bro. I'm not a delusion. I'm not a delusion. You're my big brother, after all. I can't do everything on my own. There's things I'd like to rely on you for, you know? I'm not a delusion. I'm not a delusion. I know you don't like being told to do stuff. And you're always slacking off anyway, so I guess there's no point in trying to change that. Wait, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not a delusion. I'm not a delusion. What I'm trying to say is, even I have moments where I want someone to vent to, a shoulder to cry on. You know? And when that happens, I just want my big brother to be nice to me. You know? not delusion, I'm not delusion. Come on, big bro. Listen to me. Please. I'm really, really sad right now. I lost my bangle that meant so much to me. The one my big bro gave me. I'm so sad. My chest hurts so much. I just want to cry and cry. I just want my big bro to hug me. I just want my big bro to pat my head. Hey, big bro. Even if it's selfish, can I ask for that just this once? Oh. Raising my head in a daze, I saw Nanami crying. She was hanging her head low, and while she was trying her best to hold them in, tears ran down her pained face all the same. Oh, okay. And we're out of there. Oh yeah, and here's Remy, and she has her weird blades that are... They're kind of like wings, aren't they? Upon opening a glass door, the very moment that Remy entered what appeared to be a lobby, a twitch of fear ran through her. A chill breeze, cold enough to freeze her over, crept up her legs. Oh yeah, that was the other thing when Fez took down the other Ewer. I think that it was revealed that it was a man with one of those machines, that kind of, you know, those rucksacks that it seemed like they were generating an image. I think that's what we saw, right? There was no sign of anyone. A fact that was obvious for this place, and this place alone. And yet, when Remy thought about what waited her ahead, she could not help but wish that someone could have been there with her. Before her was a soundproof door, a door akin to those of a movie theatre. From a small crack within that gateway, the chilled breeze came wafting through. The breeze was accompanied by a white haze, a haze akin to the smoke that rose from dry ice. Remy fiercely bit down on her lip. On her lip. In her hands was a D-sword, already reel-booted. You'll be fine. You'll be fine, so... No more being scared. Desperately telling herself that she gulped a single time. No, desperately telling herself that she gulped a single time before proceeding to burst open the soundproof door with her shoulder. What's in there? Ooh. Ruby's eyes went wide at the scene that she saw before her. There stood a device that was beyond enormous. Enshrined in the center of a dome-shaped room, it could be described only as a monster. An ominous sound rang faintly throughout the spacious room. It was a low-pitched noise akin to the deep growl of a beast, a sound that signified the device's operation. No, the second. It's already running. All thanks to you. Ooh. A voice replied to Remy's vexed murmurs. The moment she heard the voice, Remy felt her very soul tremble. Oh, here he is. Sakihata, Remy. It has been 1.5 years since we last met, has it not? Remy's instinct was to be engulfed in fear. Shivers rose from the depths of her heart. Abominable memories attacked her consciousness. Her grim past was on the brink of being resurrected. To endure such a threat, Remy strengthened the grasp on her D-sword and lightly shook her head. Once she regained her hold, she shifted her gaze toward the voice. Right besides the enormous device, no, the second was him. The figure of a man donned in a suit, and by his side... Oh my god. Oh. It's Nanami. Nana-chan. Was Nishijo Nanami, held captive. Her uniform was torn, and a bandage soaked with blood was wrapped around her right wrist. Her head hung toward the floor, and she looked terribly, terribly pale. Faced with such a pitiable sight, Remy was at a loss for words. Crucified in Jesus of Nazareth's likeness, No. What held her now could not be called a cross. It was something far different, for it took the shape of a pure, unadulterated malice. The entirety of this world's evil. The entirety of this world's disorder. The entirety of this world's immorality. Is that how you would say that? Immorality. Yeah, I guess you would. It would be no exaggeration to refer to it as a symbol sculpted to those very attributes. I have no interest in knowing where you have been, nor what you've been doing these past 18 months. All I must say is that having you loiter here presents quite the trouble. The man, Norose Genichi, spoke in a peaceful tone, but his voice was embedded with the sharpness of a blade. Doing everything in her power not to sink to her knees, Remy glared back at Norose. Let Nana-chan go. Oh? Could that perhaps have been why you came here? To rescue a friend? Let Nana-chan go. She has nothing to do with this. In that case, why not consult with her directly? Norose's offer left Remy confused. She was acting brave, but in truth, the moment she'd seen Norose's face, her heart had been seized by fear, and her legs had begun to tremble. Unable to move an inch from where she stood, she called out to the crucified Nanami. Nana-chan. Nanami's head ever so slightly stirred. Her eyes, which had been closed until that very moment, opened faintly. She raised her head and her hollow eyes fell upon Remy. Her hollow eyes. Remy-san. Are you okay? Don't worry. I'm here to save you. In the middle of Remy's sentence, Nanami's face twisted in pain. Her face was pale and her breathing laboured. Ugh. Ugh. It hurts. My right hand. It hurts. Then, with very little resistance, Nanami's body slid off the cross. Ooh. Nana-chan. Hey, Remy-san. Without getting up from the floor, Nanami lifted her head and let her gaze roam about the room. It was as if she was searching for something. You know, my bangle. I can't find it. I can't find it anywhere. She staggered to her feet, and this time she searched her surroundings with her left hand. Bangle. It's a bangle, right? Got it. I know where it is. If we get out of here, we can go get it. Nana-chan. So, let's go to the hospital, okay? Oh, so they're not at the hospital now. Remy is somewhere else. That's right. My hand, it hurts. Why do I know you, Remy-san? Where have we met before? Remy-san, is it you, Remy-san? Did you take my bangle? No. Why? Why would you do something like that? Remy, who realised that something was wrong with Nanami, instantly looked at Norose. With a scornful grin painted on his face, he simply observed Remy and Nanami's exchange. What are you showing her? That's Remy, right? Nanami's gaze was fixed on Remy. Trembling like a newborn fawn, she slowly stood up and then she held out her right wrist, as if offering Remy her palm. A bandage drenched in blood. It almost appeared as if her hand was still connected. And yet, one after the other, vibrant scarlet drops fell from the bandage without reprieve. By her feet, a pool of blood grew larger and larger with each passing second. She needs medical attention. Fast. But despite how frantic she was, Remy was unable to get any closer. But getting closer to Nanami would mean getting closer to that man. It frustrated her greatly, leaving her on the verge of tears. Did you have it the whole time, Rimi-san? Time to go. Okay, Nana-chan, this way. Why did you take it from me? Give it back. Give my bangle back! Calm down, Nana-chan. It's my treasure, from my big bro. I won't let anyone else have it. Give it back. Give it back! Nana-chan. Give it back! Together with a pained scream. Oh, a single drop of blood fell from her right wrist. Before it had the opportunity to hit the ground, the drop crystallized at high speed. Originating from nothing, with the drop at its center, a minimalesque object burst into view. It was as if a carapace formed from minerals had ripped through a rift in space. A carapace? What the hell is that? Okay, we learn something every day. Carapace is the hard upper shell of a tortoise. Interesting, okay, cool. In the blink of an eye, it took shape. It resembled a cross, far more than the object that had previously held Nanami. Or perhaps it was a sword which pierced itself perpendicularly, as if rejecting all. That's a D-sword. Give it back. Please! And Nanami, as if embracing it, held it close to her chest. Tears, born from all the sadness within her, fell upon it. Her D-sword flickered, scarlet, as if one with her pulse. If you don't give it back, Rimi-san, I'll make you pay! No, it's all time. Nana-chan was a Gigamaniac. I mean, it makes sense. Everyone else is a Gigamaniac. Let me be selfish just this once. So who is this then, if this isn't Nana-chan, Nanami? I saw Nanami crying. She was hanging her head low, and while she was trying her best to hold them in, tears ran down her pained face all the same. I took one look at her, and then I returned my gaze to the ceiling, resuming my mission of counting the rusted spots. Cry all you want. There's nothing I can do for you. I'm a delusionary existence, after all. A delusion. Don't say that! There's no way you're a delusion, big bro, because I remember you from back when we were kids. I've always taken care of you, and even though I can't say you're reliable, you've always been with me, ever since I can remember. Wait, she was right. It was just as she'd said. I had memories from when Nanami was little. I had memories from my childhood. I had memories of watching the news reporting on the bus accident my classmates had been in, the one that had happened on the field trip I hadn't been able to go to. I even remembered my teacher, Mr. Saito, who'd passed away in the accident. The words of Rimi, a total stranger, or the words of Nanami, who I'd grown up with. It went without saying which to believe. The right person to believe wasn't Rimi. The right person to believe was Nanami. If Nanami was real, that meant that I too was real. Nanami. I extended my hand toward her. Nanami's existence was my one and only hope. The sole existence that would save me. Uh-oh, is this actually Nanami though? Save me, Nanami. Save me. Big bro! If Nanami's warmth was real, then I could prove that I was real too. Nanami, who'd been crying from loneliness, wiped away her tears. Looked at me with her reddened eyes, smiled at me with a tearful smile. And... Will you hug me? Don't hug her, Takumi. Don't break your... resilience now at all times. You know what I mean. I nodded. Then again. Then once more. By doing so, if I could save Nanami, by doing so, I could save myself. What I mean to say, of all times to break your big bro pig-headedness, it's the time when Nanami is clearly a monster. I would gladly hug this bratty little sister of mine no matter the time or place. I would hug my one and only sister in this world, the one that shared my blood. Nanami, save me. I wanted to feel her warmth as soon as I could, and so I opened my arms to welcome her into my chest. I prepared to hug her. Uh-oh. Tightly. Ever so tightly. Big bro! But right at that very moment... Aha! I told you it was bad. Nanami's body was enveloped in a faint light, and she burst into countless blue particles. One after another, the particles burst like bubbles in the air. The air in which my arms remained extended, never receiving the hug I so desired. My chest never felt feeling the warmth I so desired. Right before my very eyes, Nanami had vanished. Oop. Ah! God dang it. With only her left hand, Nishijo Nanami tightly embraced the D-sword that had been born of her own blood. Her right arm, meanwhile, only lay upon it. Her blood, seeping from the bandage on her right wrist, slowly ran down the sword's fuller. It hurts! You knew. You knew she was a gigalomaniac. Rimi's question was directed at Norose, who had evidently chosen to remain a spectator. No matter how much Rimi glared his way, he always retained the same composed look on his face. A fortunate coincidence, if you may. After doing all those horrific things to her, you think you can just say, oh, after doing all those horrible things to her, you think you can just say that. What do you mean a coincidence? A coinky-dink? Simply that there was no need to go to the same great lengths that I had with you. After all, my company already had a well-established method on how to awaken gigalomaniacs. But in opposition to this, Nishijo Takumi is the only one to which this method does not apply. I must say, there was nothing more difficult to handle than that irregular monstrosity. Don't you dare call him that. Why, may I ask? Is it perhaps because you are one as well? That's not what this is about. Allow me to rephrase. Perhaps someone born from nothing. Averting her gaze, Rimi bit her lip in frustration. Her trembling had yet to cease. In direct opposition to her wish to save Nanami, her legs refused to move. It was as if they had taken root inside the floor. Norose, meanwhile, caressed Nanami's head almost lovingly, acting as if he was under no threat whatsoever. Nanami had no reaction to this. She simply hung her head low as she repeatedly drew shallow breaths. A spotlight, illuminating a single spot amid the endless dark. Around it, countless corpses, lying on the floor, with none being able to see them, not even you yourself. Stop it. And if, say, you committed suicide, the spotlight would move a few dozen centimeters, and you'd be swallowed by the dark. Then another someone, unaware of everything, privy to nothing, would in turn be bathed in the spotlight. Stop! Prompted by Rimi's sharp tone, Norose shrugged his shoulders, then returned to silence. It hurts. I want you to let Nana-chan go. Whatever do you mean? I've already released her restraints. I'm taking her with me. Feel free. I have no use for her anymore. Okay, Nana-chan, let's go. You can dispel the sword now. Then give me back my bangle. I will. So please. Remy knew where Nana's hand was being kept. On that day, on the night Nanami's hand had been delivered to Takumi's room. After Takumi had collapsed with sheer humiliation on the roof of the O-front, Remy had retrieved the hand from within the refrigerator. Whoa, okay. Shogun was the one who had it now. It was in cold. It was in a cold storage. It was in cold storage. Jesus, to keep it from decomposing. The bangle too was. I got it from my big bro. It's mine. It's my bangle. Take it away from me. How could you? Nanami's voice, which had only been speaking in incoherent mumbles, was gradually growing more and more intense. Calm down. Take deep breaths. I need you to pull yourself together. If I may ask, Norose's sudden interruption elicited a click of Remy's tongue, though only in her mind. Which of you two is more important? Which is the more important being to Nishijo Takumi? Remy cast her eyes downward. Remy-san, While Nanami instead raised her head, a sparkle returned to her once empty eyes, a glaring, brilliant shine, one that warranted only a single, descriptor. Abnormal. Ooh. In a panic, Remy frantically attempted to brace herself, only to be frozen in place by the sudden darkness. It was as if all the lights had been turned off. Remy had no way of knowing whether it had been intentional or accidental. I can't fail here, Remy whispered, so in an attempt to encourage herself. Her voice made the air undulate, but it melded itself into the dark before long. She then noticed that she could no longer hear the second's growling rumblings. I hate the dark. It always reminds me of back then. Remy tried looking around, but all she could see was darkness, spread through every corner. No speck of the concept known as light existed. Could she not see because it was dark? Or could it perhaps be because her sight was not working properly? She'd even lost the ability to tell up from down. She could not tell where she was anymore. Her 5 senses had been eroded by darkness, and now her body wasn't able to recognize anything. As if her body had been turned into a gas. As if her consciousness had slipped away from its vessel. Past and present fused as one, and Remy's memories began to intermix. When was now? When was the past? Oh. Then, in the world ruled only by sheer darkness, a single ray of light shone down. And there, within that circular spotlight, was Remy, cradling her knees close to her chest. What the fuck is happening? Remy was seeing this very scene from within the darkness. It's the same as back then. Back then. Remy had nothing. Before she knew it, she'd been confined and tortured, but rather than anything physical, the psychological pain she suffered had been far greater. A daily life born from the depths of hell. A daily life consisting solely of enduring. How she'd been before that, Remy did not know. When and how had she been confined? For how long had she been tortured? Do you think that Remy, Senna, and all the others are they all just figments of Takumi's imagination? Is that where it's telling? Is that where it's leading us to? That Remy did not know. But something told her that this was not due to memory loss. The moment she suddenly opened her eyes, a consciousness known as herself had been born, or so she felt.
Perhaps the one inhabiting this body before her, unable to escape from all the pain, had ended her own life within her delusions.
And then perhaps as a new her, a new personality, the current Rimi had been born. Perhaps there'd been countless other hers before her. It's interesting. Does seem to kind of corroborate. Is that no? What words? I can't think of words. I'm so tired. Only 4 hours sleep, but it does seem to support. Is a good enough word. The theory that she's a figment of someone's imagination, at least. Even though the name Sakihata Rimi may have been different each time. To myself, I don't exist. Something moved amid the darkness. Rimi stood up and then slowly began to move toward it, and as she moved, so did the spotlight. And what she found was a dead Rimi, lying on the ground. Without ever looking at Rimi, a whisper flowed from Rimi's mouth. What number are you? Ah. Oh. Ah! Ah! Rimi's eyeballs twitched incessantly. An endless amount of tears ran down the corners of her eyes. Her D-sword then slipped from her hands, and Rimi sank to the floor. Much like a child would, she covered her face with her hands and weakly shook her head. I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. Nanami stared at her with a vacant look at her face, while Norose let out a short, disinterested snort. So was that fake or real? Nanami had vanished without a trace. She had turned into bubbles before my very eyes. Nami? Where are you? Come on. Come out. I know you're here. Is this another prank? You're hiding. Stop hiding from me. My vision grew blurry from my tears. No matter how many times I wiped them away, the lukewarm droplets kept pouring out. But both this warmth and the feelings making me shed these tears were delusions. I myself was one after all. Nanami had been a delusion. I'd been stupid to believe it would all be okay. My hopes had been crushed just like that. Just like that. Hey, when will I wake up from this delusion? Please. Can it hurry up and happen already? Not even I knew who I was talking to, but right now, I was fine with anyone. I just wanted to be heard. I'm sure once I wake up, I'll actually be an alpha for sure. With an understanding little sister and a gentle big sister. I'll be going out with a cute girlfriend. She won't be some insane schizo like Rimi or Senna. She'll be a good girl like Seratan. You are a delusionary existence. That's what Rimi said. What am I doing? Sitting on the floor? Groveling on the floor, I buried my head in the mountain of trash and tightly gripped Seratan. I tried my best to avert my eyes from reality as I pounded the floor with my fists, but I couldn't. Rimi's words pummeled my mind relentlessly. I want to die. I want to die. Why won't anyone kill me? Hey, Seratan, can you kill me? Kill me.
Do you really want to kick the bucket that badly?
I want to die. I can't take it anymore. I can't take my own existence anymore. I don't want to think of anything. I don't want to keep on living.
Ah, poor little Taki. In that case, I'll show you a real quick way to do it.
And we'll see what quick way Seratan's going to show Takumi how to kill himself next time on Borderland Games. What a cliffhanger. Have a great evening. I'll speak to you later. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.